Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for the SOPA 2021 Awards ceremony. My name is Sharanjit Leyl, and I am privileged to be your MC for these awards tonight. Now, for public health reasons, we've decided to host the annual awards ceremony virtually instead of holding a gala dinner. The SOPA Awards are in their 23rd year, and we appreciate you being here. Now, please live tweet and hashtag SOPA Awards 2021, where we'll be tweeting the winners as well. Before we start, we would like to express our gratitude to SOPA, the Society of Publishers in Asia, and the judges from around the world who dedicated their time and effort to this event. Much appreciation goes to the University of Hong Kong and the HKU Journalism Department, which has been backing the SOPA Awards since 2012. Now, the awards would not be possible without our supporters. And this year, we especially thank our platinum sponsor, Google News Initiative. Special thanks also goes to our public relations partner, Citygate Dew Rogerson, and our supporting partners, BBC News and Click to View. Now, this evening, we will share with you the outstanding and the best of journalism award entries from 2020. We will have some welcome remarks and then a speech by Michelle Bachelet from the UNHCR. And then we kick off the first part of the awards presentation. Now, 2020 was another very tough year for journalists in the Asia-Pacific region, given all the social and political issues and the ongoing global COVID-19 pandemic. We have collected an array of photos that will mark highlights of the past year. Let's take a look.
To the table.
What a powerful video. Thanks to all the photojournalists on the front lines. Next, we have some welcoming remarks from Byron Perry, SOPA's chair.
Good evening. The Society of Publishers in Asia was founded in 1982 in Hong Kong. Our mission is to champion freedom of the press, promote excellence in journalism, and endorse best practices for all local and regional publishing platforms in the Asia-Pacific region. We launched the SOPA Awards in 1999 to recognize and celebrate the highest quality and most impactful journalism in the region, which we have done for the last 23 years. For the second year in a row now, we are digitally live streaming the SOPA Awards rather than holding a gala dinner in Hong Kong due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Although we can't be together in person, that won't stop us from recognizing the journalists who did big things in 2020. These are tough times for publishers in Asia and globally. Freedom of the press is under threat in many countries, while tech platforms have majorly disrupted the traditional editorial and commercial model of publishers. Misinformation spread by both coordinated campaigns and regular people is on the rise, sowing doubt and mistrust in the media. It seems it's getting hard for us to agree on what's a fact and what isn't these days, and feeds and filter bubbles are diminishing our shared sense of reality. Despite these challenges, fearless journalists from India to Australia and from Japan to Myanmar are doing some of their best and most important work ever, affecting change and holding the powerful to account. In this changing world, however journalism is consumed, I know there will always be a demand for truth, for facts, for context, for analysis, and for real-life storytelling. We have an amazing evening planned for you tonight with an address from Michelle Bachelet, the United Nations High Commissioner of Human Rights, as well as a fireside chat between Rana Ayyub, investigative journalist and Washington Post columnist, and Jeanette Rodrigues, Bloomberg News Mumbai bureau chief. Tonight, we will also present a Lifetime Achievement Award to Diane Ying, founder, chairperson, and editor-in-chief of Commonwealth, Taiwan's leading magazine group, in recognition of her role as a pioneer of modern journalism. I want to give a special thanks to our sponsor, the Google News Initiative, and to our awards administrator, the University of Hong Kong Journalism and Media Studies Center. To my fellow SOPA board members and those on the editorial committee, it's been a privilege working closely with you on this worthy cause. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to welcome you to the 2021 Society of Publishers in Asia Awards.
Thank you, Byron, for those remarks from the SOPA chair. We'll now go to Madeline Lim, chair of SOPA's editorial committee.
Thank you, Sharanjit, for the introduction and for being our host tonight. And welcome to our viewers, wherever you are. We're delighted that you're joining us tonight to celebrate outstanding journalism. For a second year in a row, we are forced to gather virtually rather than in person. But I know this will not diminish the excitement around the winners and the recognition of the excellent work that our awards stand for. For more than 20 years, SOPA has honored editorial excellence in our region, and tonight's winners can be proud of being the best of the best. We received over 760 entries, meeting the highest standards, and it was particularly pleasing to see an uptick in first-time entrants and an increase in the number of countries participating in the awards. Amid the cries of fake news, attacks on journalists, and suppression of press freedom in many parts of the world, it is important to remember that our mission as journalists is to establish facts and present a balanced narrative, one that is essential to helping the public understand what's happening and how this impacts their lives. Our role as journalists is to hold those who wield power accountable, be it corporations or governments. And this is what we're celebrating tonight. Not surprisingly, one of the dominant themes of the award entries was how the ravages of the pandemic played out unequally across societies and economies, how the poorest and most vulnerable bore the brunt of governments' failure to protect their people. Indeed, many governments used the excuse of the pandemic to undermine civil rights, including press freedom, a topic we will return to with our guest speakers. But first, I would like to thank the SOPA board, led by Byron Perry, for their support over the past year, and a heartfelt thank you to my colleagues on the editorial committee, and especially Cliff Buddle, who headed the committee for the past 3 years. Thank you also to Hong Kong University's School of Journalism, our awards administrator, and our lead judge, Jeff Timmermans, as well as all our judges from around the world who spent time and effort assessing the entries. These awards would not be possible without the passion of our managing director, Christine Wong, Thank you, Christine, for your energy and your patience. Thanks also to Peggy Wong from the SOPA Secretariat. And last but not least, I would like to thank the Google News Initiative, our sponsor, who have supported the awards since 2015, including subsidizing entry fees for new participants. As promised, we have an exciting program for you this evening. It is a great honor to be addressed by Michelle Bachelet, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and former President of Chile, the first woman to hold that position. Following her address, we will announce a first round of award winners, including the winner of the inaugural SOPA Young Journalist Award. Our second guest speaker is Indian investigative journalist and Washington Post writer Rana Ayyub, whose track record in holding the powerful accountable speaks for itself. The second round of award winners includes our most prestigious award, the Award for Public Service Journalism. Thank you again for joining us. I hope you will enjoy the evening and find inspiration in the powerful journalism we are honoring tonight.
Well, thank you, Madeline, for that inspiring speech to those journalists reporting out on the front lines. Now, a few remarks from Irene J. Liu from Google News Initiative.
Thanks, Sharanjit. Good evening, everyone. And on behalf of the Google News Initiative, we are thrilled to join this evening's festivities and celebrate the excellent journalism of the past year. A year, as we all know, that has been fraught with challenges, especially for journalists who continue to probe, explain, and tell stories in the face of pestilence, uncertainty, and violence across the region. It is our honor to support the SOPA Awards and for the first time recognize the important work of the region's young, emerging reporters. And on behalf of Google, thank you for all that you do, and congratulations to this year's winners.
Thank you for those congratulatory comments, Irene. Well, next up is our featured speaker, Michelle Bachelet, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, who will talk to us about the increasing challenges to freedom of the press and journalists' rights in this region.
I'm pleased to address this important event. A number of my staff at the UN Human Rights Office, formerly journalists in the region, have in some way been affiliated with the Society of Publishers in Asia over the years. I would like to convey their regards to all of you. This award ceremony rightly focuses our attention on individual journalists whose brilliance and courage merits particular applause. But all of you deserve honor for your adaptability and resilience during the intense turmoil of the past 18 months, as well as your dedication to the fundamental rights to freedom of opinion, information, and expression. I'm also keenly aware that at least two of your previous keynote speakers, Maria Ressa and Jimmy Lai, have faced negative consequences for the exercise of their fundamental human rights. As a linchpin that keeps a wheel from falling off its axis, a free and independent press holds governments, institutions, and policies to their task of delivering peace, development, and human rights to the people without discrimination. It underpins the fundamental principles of transparency and accountability in government and fosters public trust and participation in decision-making. And yet, attacks on media freedoms and on journalists are widespread and lethal, including in Asia and the Pacific region. UNESCO has reported that since January 2019, at least 137 journalists have been killed worldwide, more than two-thirds of them in countries not experiencing armed conflict. Many died while reporting on demonstrations or while investigating organized crime, illicit financial flows, corruption, environmental damage, or with state complicity. This situation is perpetuated by impunity. UNESCO estimates that in almost 9 out of 10 cases, the killing of journalists goes unpunished. Many reporters are routinely subjected to violence and threats of violence, smear campaigns, and vicious online trolling. These attacks can be especially savage in the case of women journalists from indigenous and minority ethnic, religious, or linguistic communities, and LGBTI people. Public officials appear to be complicit in some of these cases, but obtaining impartial investigation of any such complicity is often very difficult. Rana Ayyub, my distinguished fellow speaker, is one of many who have endured this kind of abuse. Last year, my office held consultations and trainings in protection for women journalists across the region, and this was one of their most urgent concerns. We highlighted the campaign of social media attacks against women journalists in Pakistan who had been critical of government policies, including journalist and human rights defenders Marvi Sirmet, who was subjected to highly derogatory and violent language, including gender-based slurs, accusations of blasphemy, and death threats. Legal harassment and attacks against environmental reporters, exposing problems of land grabbing, abuse of natural resources, and corruption are also growing increasingly common, frequently perpetrated by state actors. Some of those incidents have resulted in the death of journalists. Although the pandemic has exacerbated many challenges, long before COVID-19, we saw many governments, including in Asia, applying vaguely defined laws on national security, defamation, incitement, fake news, or cybersecurity to silence perceived critics both in print and online, including the independent voices of the press. In some cases, these are all colonial-era laws that have been repurposed. The region has seen far too many examples of journalists, citizen journalists, and media organizations subjected to threats of violence, legal harassment, and arbitrary detention, often for lengthy periods in unacceptable conditions. In Myanmar, since the 1st of February, at least 8 independent media organizations have had their licenses revoked, and journalists have been harassed, intimidated, arrested, and detained arbitrarily. As of 27 May, at least 56 journalists remain in detention, and 22 are still in hiding with arrest warrants pending against them. In Hong Kong SAR, the new national security law is leading journalists to increasingly self-censor to avoid clashing with its vaguely formulated offenses. The offices and finances of some independent news outlets have been investigated by the police on national security grounds. In China, more broadly, numerous bloggers and reporters have been detained and others intimidated, including for the documentation of the pandemic. Foreign journalists have also faced restrictions, including being refused visas or access or being expelled. In Bangladesh, my office has been engaging with the government to review the Digital Security Act, which has been used to detain journalists, activists, and others, including in the context of COVID-19. My office has recently taken up the case of Rosina Islam, a journalist who was recently arrested under the colonial-era Official Secrets Act following her critical reporting of the government's response to the pandemic. She has since been bailed, and I hope her case can be resolved promptly. In Cambodia, the authorities have repeatedly used the criminal code to intimidate and imprison journalists, and the new COVID-19 law imposes further restrictions on media freedoms. Last month, a notice was issued prohibiting journalists from reporting in areas designated as red zones, home to more than 300,000 people. Over the past 12 months, our office has documented the arrest of 6 journalists, while at least 6 licenses for online media outlets were revoked or are under by the Ministry of Information. Independent reporting on the handling of the pandemic has also led journalists to come under further pressure in India. Several state governments have even threatened crackdowns on online discussions that are critical of the government's response, including factual reports of medical shortages. In some countries, journalists are targeted as being engaged in anti-state activity. In the Philippines, where 4 journalists were killed in 2020, my office has also documented many cases of so-called red tagging of those critical of the authorities. They are accused of links to the Communist Party and the New People's Army, putting them at risk of legal harassment, arbitrary detention, and killing. In Vietnam, since January, at least 6 journalists working for independent and state-owned media outlets have been arrested on questionable grounds. 5 others were sentenced from 7 to 15 years in prison. Let me be clear. The United Nations stands strongly for media freedom, which is essential to our purpose, building sound and sustainable development and inclusive peace in harmonious society that have at their core the respect and protection of people's human rights. The pandemic, if anything, makes media freedom more necessary. Clarity about what is happening, including the impact of public health policies, can only be established by independent sources. A free press is vital to combating disinformation, deliberate falsehood, intended to advance political ambitions or commercial interests, which intensify social polarization and destroy public trust in important institutions. The Special Rapporteur on the Promotion and Protection of the Right to Freedom of Opinion and Expression recently reported that, and I will quote, "There is growing evidence that disinformation tends to thrive where human rights are constrained, where the public information regime is not robust, and where media quality, diversity, and independence is weak." End of quote. We need a new kind of governance to put societies back on course as we aim to rebuild better after the pandemic. And we will not be able to do so without an enabling environment for clear-eyed, plain-speaking, independent journalists. Thank you for the work you do, for your courage, your insights, and your support for the human rights of everyone.
Thank you, Michelle Bachelet. Okay, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Who will bag the honours for journalistic innovation? Who will be named Best Feature Writer? And who took the best photo of 2020? We're about to reveal the winners of these prestigious awards, so don't leave your seat. Well, our first category award this year is for excellence in reporting on women's issues, honouring original coverage of women in Asia. The 3 finalists of the Chinese language media are BBC Chinese, representing the crisis and victories of women in East and Southeast Asia; Initium Media and female activist Li Xiaochu, I have a hero complex, but my fantasy hero is myself; Lianhe Xiaobao, the beauty and woes of transgender women. And the honourable mention goes to BBC Chinese, representing the crisis and victories of women in East and Southeast Asia. Congratulations to BBC Chinese. And the award for excellence goes to the publication Initium Media, and the title of the entry is Female Activist Li Xiaochu, I have a hero complex, but my fantasy hero is myself. Congratulations, Initium Media. The judges said, the choice of interviewee helps the story stand out. The details reported also testify to the success of the reporter in building trust with the interviewee. Now, the 3 finalists of regional English language media are GMA News Online, the children are all grown up now; Rappler, Nowhere to Run, to cross the coronavirus border, prostituted women are abused by cops; and the world of Chinese, Hunger Games, eating disorders maim a new generation of young Chinese women. The honourable mention goes to the publication Rappler for Nowhere to Run, to cross coronavirus borders, prostituted women are abused by cops. Congratulations to Rappler. And the award for excellence goes to GMA News Online. The children are all grown up now. Congratulations to GMA News Online. Now, the judges called it an ambitious and evocative account of the impact of incest and sexual violence on children. Sensitively told, the piece makes good use of art, includes a content warning, and provides resources for fellow survivors. Now, the 3 finalists for global English language media are Al Jazeera English, India's Highway of Shame, The Washington Post, in the Philippines, a child alleges abuse by Catholic priest and tests Vatican's promise for global reckoning. Vice World News, when they killed our men. Now the honourable mention goes to Al Jazeera English for India's Highway of Shame. Congratulations to them. And the award for excellence goes to the publication Vice World News, when they killed our men. Congratulations to Vice World News. The judges said it represented a detailed and important piece of journalism which showed the impact of women of the people left behind by Duterte's violent anti-drug war. A lot of work went into tracking down the relatives and piecing together their stories. For excellence in journalistic innovation, SOPA honours the work that uses new and emerging global tools to deliver news content in an innovative manner and encourage audience engagement with the news. The 3 finalists for Chinese language media are Reader, COVID-19, the mask map in Taiwan. The Reporter, 25 years controversy over Tainan Urban District Railway Underground Project. United Daily News, her story. The honourable mention goes to the publication United Daily News for her story. Congratulations to them. Now, the award for excellence goes to The Reporter, 25 years controversy over Tainan Urban District Railway Underground Project. Congratulations to The Reporter. The judges said the story relied on the integration of multimodal data to tell a story about urban development and skillful use of geolocational applications. Now, the 3 finalists of regional English language media are ABS-CBN News, TAL, Through Eruption and Pandemic, GMA News Online, What I Wore That Day, Malaysia Kini, MP Game, and the honourable mention goes to ABS-CBN for TAL, Through Eruption and Pandemic. Congratulations, ABS-CBN News. And the award for excellence goes to the publication GMA News Online for What I Wore That Day. Congratulations, GMA News Online. The judges called it brilliant and powerful journalism, riding on a social media wave of anger, highlighting the prevailing assault and rape culture. Next, the 3 finalists of global English language media are Bloomberg, the COVID resilience ranking, Reuters, analysing Australia's catastrophic bushfires, the Wall Street Journal, how the coronavirus spread. The honourable mention goes to the Wall Street Journal and how the coronavirus spread. Congratulations, Wall Street Journal. But the award for excellence goes to Bloomberg, the COVID resilience ranking. Congratulations to Bloomberg News. What the judges said was a clever idea and clearly provides a public service. It was compelling how some countries ranked so highly on certain COVID data points but stumbled on others. Our next category is excellence in video reporting, which honours work that demonstrates excellence in short-form video news reports, including virtual reality and 360-degree video. The 3 finalists of Chinese language media are Apple Daily, 365 Days of the Exiled Bookseller in Taiwan, The Road to Reopening the Banned Bookstores, Initium Media, Hit hard by sanctions and structural weaknesses, how can Hong Kong manufacturers survive? Initium Media, what's left of Hong Kong after over 16,000 tear gas bombs? The honourable mention goes to Initium Media. And hit hard by sanctions and structural weaknesses, how can Hong Kong manufacturers survive? Congratulations, Initium Media. Now, the award for excellence goes to publication Initium Media, What's Left of Hong Kong After Over 16,000 Tear Gas Bombs. Congratulations again to Initium Media. And here's a short clip.
反修例運動爆發1年裏面，催淚煙籠罩住整個香港。有學者估算喺香港過百萬人曾經受催淚煙影響。究竟呢種成分不明、混帶住城市創傷嘅武器， 為香港埋下咗點樣嘅公共健康危機？
The judges said this is an incredibly well-researched explainer that managed to strike the right balance between educational and engaging. The topic is of great public interest and relevant to our times, not only in Hong Kong, but also to grassroots movements around the world. Next, the three finalists of regional English language media are ABS-CBN News, driver lives inside his jeepney as lockdown halts public transport. Rappler, exiled by the pandemic, seafarers face peril. Sixth Tone, the workshop of the world unravelled. And the honourable mention goes to Rappler, exiled by the pandemic, seafarers face peril. Congratulations to Rappler. And the award for excellence goes to ABS-CBN News. Driver lives inside his jeepney as lockdown halts public transport. Congratulations, ABS-CBN News.
Ay, ito sa Sharanjit pa to, dito ko sana matupad yung mga pangarap ko sa buhay namin eh. O yung kitain nito, ipunin na natin. Makabili tayo ng bahay.
The judges said by focusing on one jeepney driver's struggles and heartache, this piece conveys in searing detail the cost of COVID and the lockdown that followed. Haunting. Now, the three finalists of global English language media are Agence France Presse, 8 days in Wuhan, cut off from the world. BBC World Service, meeting the son I thought was dead. The New York Times, wearing a mask, it may come from China's controversial labour programme. And the honourable mention goes to the publication Agence France Presse, 8 days in Wuhan, cut off from the world. Congratulations, Agence France Presse. And the award for excellence goes to the New York Times for wearing a mask. It may come from China's controversial labour programme. Congratulations to the New York Times. And here's a quick video.
Long-standing and highly controversial government labor program that experts say often puts people to work against their will. We reviewed hundreds of videos, photos, government documents, and shipping data to reveal how the surging demand for face masks is linked to this problematic program. We identified several Chinese companies that
The judges called it a remarkable investigative report on an important human rights issue. The thoroughness belies any possible rebuttal from the Chinese government or authorities. Top class. Now, the next category is excellence in human rights reporting, which honours work that demonstrates high standards of reporting on a human rights topic of significance. And the three finalists of Chinese language media are Initia Media, an investigation of the mass death of the Batek tribe in Malaysia; Stand News, Voices of the Castle Peak Bay Immigration Centre, hunger strike for detainees' rights; Stand News, human rights cover-up, lawyers, families and supporters looking for ways to rescue 12 Hong Kongers detained on the mainland. The honourable mention goes to the publication Stand News, human rights cover-up, lawyers, families and supporters looking for ways to rescue 12 Hong Kongers detained on mainland China. Congratulations to Stand News. Now, the award for excellence in human rights reporting goes to Stand News for Voices of the Castle Peak Bay Immigration Centre, hunger strike for detainees' rights. Congratulations again to Stand News. The judges called it excellent in-depth reporting enhanced by personal stories of refugees. Next up, we've got the finalists for regional English language media, and they are Frontier Myanmar, Shan farmers killing leaves villages burning with anger; the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, Philippine jails are COVID-19 time bomb; The Wire, from segregation to labour, Manu's caste law governs the Indian prison system. And the honourable mention goes to The Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism for Philippine jails are a COVID-19 time bomb. Congratulations to the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism. And the award for excellence goes to The Wire. From segregation to labor, Manu's caste law governs the Indian prison system. Congratulations to The Wire. The judges said it was an important investigation highlighting discrimination left over from the past and bringing change, reporting that made a difference. Next up, we've got the three finalists of Global English Language Media, and they are the Associated Press, China cracks down the Uyghurs; the Wall Street Journal, Facebook, a conduit for hate in India; the Wall Street Journal, Xi Jinping's China solution. The honourable mention goes to the Wall Street Journal for Facebook, a conduit for hate in India. Congratulations, Wall Street Journal. And the award for excellence goes to the Associated Press for China cracks down the Uyghurs. Congratulations to the Associated Press. Now, the judges said this series is distinctive in reporting through the compilation of a large database the scale of serious abuses against Uyghur human rights, ranging from enforced IUDs, abortions, sterilizations, to separation of families. It also shows that Uyghurs are discriminated against not just for political reasons, but religious ones too. The difficulty of reporting such issues in China also makes the series deserving of its high marks. Our next award is for excellence in feature writing, honouring the work that demonstrates high standards of reporting and writing to describe an idea, event, trend, or personality, or explain a topic of significance. And the three finalists of Chinese language media are Duowei News, China's silenced liberals; Stand News, human rights cover-up, lawyers and families and supporters looking for ways to rescue 12 Hong Kongers detained in the mainland; The Reporter, 357 days of waiting compensation, a death of a Thai migrant worker. And honourable mention goes to Stand News for human rights cover-up, lawyers, families and supporters looking for ways to rescue 12 Hong Kongers detained on the mainland. Congratulations, Stand News. And the award for excellence goes to The Reporter, 357 days of awaiting compensation, a death of a Thailand migrant worker. Congratulations to The Reporter. The judges called it a moving piece that sheds light on migrant workers' predicaments. The journalists exhibited exceptional interview and storytelling skills to bring together various voices of a tragedy which has important implications for labour rights policies and their enforcement. Next up, the three finalists of regional English language media are GMA News Online, The Children Are All Grown Up Now; Sixth Tone, the Wuhan pneumonia patient trapped between despair and hope; VOD, Medical Waste Collectors. The honourable mention goes to VOD, Medical Waste Collectors. Congratulations to them. And the award for excellence goes to GMA News Online for The Children Are All Grown Up Now. Congratulations to GMA News Online. The judges said it was very hard to draw a reader into a subject so repellent as child rape. The authors have brought a number of issues to bear: confused families, indifferent authorities, traumatic processes, as well as the permanently scarred victims, to present a compelling narrative. Next up, the three finalists of Global English Language Media are Outside Magazine, the true story of the White Island eruption; The Economist, 1843 magazine, the coronavirus cruise on board the Diamond Princess; The Wire, China, death of a quantum man. The honourable mention goes to The Wire, China, for death of a quantum man. Congratulations. And the award for excellence goes to The Economist's 1843 magazine for the coronavirus cruise on board the Diamond Princess. Congratulations to The Economist's 1843 magazine. The judges said it was a well-researched and well-paced piece that perfectly captures the fear, pathos and uncertainties of the early days of the COVID crisis. Our next award, Excellence in Magazine Design, honors the magazine that demonstrates high standards in visual presentation. And the three finalists of Chinese language media are City Magazine, Nowness Asia, Home Journal, October 2020, 40 Years and New Renaissance. Life Magazine, Continue to Grow. And the honourable mention goes to Life Magazine, Continue to Grow. Congratulations to Life Magazine. The award for excellence, though, goes to City Magazine. Nowness Asia. Congratulations to City Magazine. The judges called it a collectible issue, audacious, creative and provocative design, bursting with ideas from the interactive cover to the horizontal page layouts, explosive typography and choice of photography. I couldn't simply get enough of this magazine, according to them. Now, the entries for global and regional media have been combined in this category. The three finalists of global and regional media are Nikkei Asian Review, the new Nikkei Asia, S&P Global Platts Insight Magazine, September 2020, This Week in Asia, Tourism Wakes Up. And the honourable mention goes to This Week in Asia, Tourism Wakes Up. Congratulations to This Week in Asia. And the award for excellence goes to S&P Global Platts for Insight Magazine, September 2020. Congratulations to S&P Global Platts. The judges said clean, tight data, graphics with Hin Leong's and Asia's oil recovery as standout graphics. This is what great business reporting should be like every day. Next, we present the award for excellence in arts and culture reporting, which honors the work that demonstrates high standards of reporting and writing in fine arts and cultural topics, including food and travel. The three finalists of Chinese language media are Apple Daily, Hong Kong's Low Desire, Radio Free Asia, Arts on the Resistance Front Line. Why not? Hong Kong arts creators, can an unbending flower be brought forth in forbidden soil? And the honourable mention goes to Why Not? Hong Kong arts creators, can an unbending flower be brought forth in forbidden soil? Congratulations, why not? And the award for excellence goes to Apple Daily for Hong Kong's Low Desire. Congratulations, Apple Daily. The judges called it impeccable stories of all the ordinary people in Hong Kong, insightful observations and great explorations. The three finalists from regional English language media are Frontier Myanmar, Dubious Legends, the Tatmadaws Propaganda Fail. Sixth Tone, Future Nostalgia, China's video games plug into ancient culture. Sixth Tone, in China's villages, bullfighting enjoys a bloody renaissance. The honourable mention goes to Sixth Tone, Future Nostalgia, China's video games plug into ancient culture. Congratulations to Sixth Tone. And the award for excellence goes to Frontier Myanmar for Dubious Legends, the Tatmadaws Propaganda Fail. Congratulations, Frontier Myanmar. The judges said it's disturbingly prescient. This timely review of a Myanmar television drama financed by the military offers clues as to why the Tatmadaw failed to win an election they rigged heavily in their favour, and why international observers failed to see the coup coming. The three finalists of global English language media are Financial Times, South Korea confronts the challenges facing women in the country. The Economist, the space between the lines, culture in Xi Jinping's China. The Wall Street Journal, why BTS runs the world. And the honourable mention goes to the publication The Economist for the space between the lines, culture in Xi Jinping's China. Congratulations to The Economist. The award for excellence goes to the Financial Times for South Korea confronts the challenges facing women in the country. Congratulations to the Financial Times. The judges called it a strong package of well-reported articles that show how South Korea's deep-seated bias against women, including sexual violence, overhangs all aspects of the country's culture, even as the K-pop wave reaches greater heights globally. Now it's time to reveal the award for excellence in explanatory reporting. This award honors work that demonstrates high standards of reporting, writing, and in-depth analysis to explain topics of significance. And the three finalists of Chinese language media are Commonwealth Magazine, Taking on US Pork, How Taiwan Can Win, Taiwan Public Television Service, China, Regular of Taiwan's ADIZ, 2020 Cross-Strait Relations, United Daily News, 1 year on, 108 curriculum follow-ups. And the honourable mention goes to Commonwealth Magazine for Taking on US Pork, How Taiwan Can Win. Congratulations, Commonwealth Magazine. And the award for excellence goes to Taiwan Public Television Service for China, Regular of Taiwan's ADIZ, 2020 Cross-Strait Relations. Congratulations to Taiwan Public Television Service. The judges said, rich visual and audio elements make the article easy for readers to digest. A clean review of history and explanation of the current status offer a great reading experience by connecting the dots. The three finalists for regional English language media are Rappler, Filipino seafarers face peril, death at sea. Sixth Tone, China's two-child policy 5 years on. Sixth Tone, inside Wuhan's Fangcheng shelter hospitals. And the honourable mention goes to Rappler for Filipino seafarers face perils and death at sea. Congratulations to the Rappler. And the award for excellence goes to Sixth Tone for China's two-child policy 5 years on. Congratulations to Sixth Tone. The judges called it a comprehensive and broadly reported look at the ramifications of China's shift to a two-child policy. The detailed interviews with parents and grandparents helped to bring the issues to life, giving the stories a more intimate tone. Now, the three finalists of global English language media are Reuters, Democracy Darkens in Hong Kong. The Wall Street Journal, Xi Jinping's China Solution. The Wire China, US-China decoupling in practice. And the honourable mention goes to Reuters for Democracy Darkens in Hong Kong. Congratulations, Reuters. And the award for excellence goes to the Wall Street Journal and Xi Jinping's China Solution. Congratulations to the Wall Street Journal. Now, the judges called it a very good example of explanatory journalism. Among the articles, however, the profile of Xi stands out as a very well-reported and illuminating portrait of the Chinese leader. It takes the reader through the entire life history in a way that offers real insights into the kind of leader he became and the policy direction he has chosen. Our next award looks at excellence in business reporting. The award honors the work that demonstrates high standards of reporting on a business topic of significance. The three finalists of Chinese language media are Business Weekly, 100 Trends in the Post-Pandemic World. Initium Media, Volkswagen's dependency on China, easier to speed up, difficult to slow down. Initium Media, Blessing or Curse, Taiwan and China mark 10th anniversary of trade agreement as the cross-strait relations sour. And honourable mention goes to Business Weekly and 100 Trends in the Post-Pandemic World. Congratulations to Business Weekly. And the award for excellence goes to Initium Media for Volkswagen's dependency on China. Easier to speed up, difficult to slow down. Congratulations to Initium Media. The judges said it was a good and comprehensive case study on the dilemma global corporations face in operating in China. And the three finalists for regional English language media are Frontier Myanmar, KBZ takes Yangon port operator to court over massive debts, Frontier Myanmar for Myanmar's billion-dollar border racket, and Sixth Tone, China's African traders confront a formidable new foe, Alibaba. And the honourable mention goes to Frontier Myanmar for KBZ takes on Yangon port operator to court over massive debts. Congratulations, Frontier Myanmar. And the award for excellence goes to Frontier Myanmar again for Myanmar's billion-dollar border racket. Congratulations again to Frontier Myanmar. And this is what the judges had to say. It was powerful coverage. It's rare to read such blatant examples of officials skirting the law and benefiting from it. While the smuggling activities described in these articles were to some degree hiding in plain sight, the journalists deserve enormous credit for bringing them into the public eye and apparently at great risk to their own safety. Now, the three finalists for Global English Language Media are The Information, Inside Apple, The New York Times, with Technology, China Seizes Control, and The Wall Street Journal for Facebook, a conduit for hate in India. Honourable mention goes to The New York Times, with Technology, China Seizes Control. Congratulations, New York Times. And the award for excellence goes to The Wall Street Journal for Facebook, a conduit for hate in India. Congratulations. Now, the judges called this brave reporting and data mining, exemplary writing and editing that had an immediate impact, proof that good journalism still packs a punch that governments can't ignore. Next up is the SOPA Award for Young Journalists. This award honours the young journalists who have shown exceptional talent and commitment in their coverage. The three finalists of Chinese language media are Initium Media, Wang Xi, Next Magazine, Carrie Chung, and Radio Free Asia, Xiaoshan Cui. The award for excellence goes to Initium Media and Wang Xi. Congratulations to Initium Media. The judges said this entry shines in multiple ways. The fact that the reporter stayed in Wuhan soon after the virus spread is laudable. The reporting conditions, both political and logistical, would have been difficult. Despite that and the constraints, the reporter succeeded in poking holes in the Chinese propaganda narrative by gathering first-hand information and integrating second-hand reporting of the feelings and experiences as well as events encountered by the affected individuals. The global and regional media have been combined in this English language category, and the three finalists of global and regional media are Los Angeles Times, Alice Su, The Wall Street Journal, Darcy Yun, and Vice World News, Gavin Butler. And the award for excellence goes to Los Angeles Times for Alice Su. Congratulations to Los Angeles Times and Alice Su. The judges said, Alice is a talented writer with a keen eye for detail, and she keeps the reader riveted with first-hand experiences, covering difficult and sometimes dangerous situations. Her determination in following through with reporting these sensitive stories clearly shows, especially through the many voices of subjects putting themselves at risk for speaking. In addition, Alice shows a talent for analysis and explanatory journalism for her insightful portrait of Xi. Now, let's take a break from the first part of the winners' announcements to listen to a fireside chat with Miss Jeanette Rodrigues, Bloomberg News Mumbai Bureau Chief, and Miss Rana Ayyub, writer at The Washington Post.
Good evening. I'm Jeanette Rodrigues, and it's my absolute pleasure to be speaking today with Rana Ayyub, a journalist based in Mumbai, India, and a global opinions writer for The Washington Post. Rana, thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you, Jeanette. It's an absolute pleasure to be speaking at the SOPA Awards.
Rana, we're both sitting in the same city, and unfortunately, we can't be recording in the same room today because there's a pandemic raging in India. I want to start with that. Even amidst the humanitarian crisis that we're seeing in India, there are concerns about censorship. There are concerns that the government is censoring the bad news that's coming out of this massive humanitarian crisis. You yourself have alleged that your own tweets are being censored in this climate. What's your opinion on what's happening in India and, of course, around the world as well?
Well, Jeanette, unfortunately, with authoritarian regimes around the world, this is a norm that when a crisis happens, especially when a humanitarian crisis or a disaster wherein the government is complicit, the first thing that they attack is the freedom of speech, is those speaking truth to power, is in a way stifling free media. And that's exactly what's happening in the country. 2 weeks ago, we had two cover stories, one by Time Magazine, one by India Today. The Time Magazine cover says Modi has been unable, to kind of save the country, and he has left Indians to fend for themselves. And you had the India Today cover, which showed the dead bodies but refused to ask accountability of Narendra Modi. So that's a difference right now. We see a great deal of self-censorship in the Indian media because, of course, the government has there is an atmosphere of fear, but fortunately, we still see a lot of journalists, especially in rural India, the Hindi newspapers like the Dainik Bhaskar, which have been reporting, which have been speaking truth to power. When the government is fudging data, they have come with headlines about the uncounted deaths, especially in rural India, where one reporter said that in 1,000 kilometers, he counted close to 2,000 deaths, and that's something which is not being reported by neither the government nor the mainstream media. So that's like that's a big disparity. Also, as far as the tweets are concerned, yes, the government has suspended 52 tweets or removed 52 tweets that have been critical and that have been talking about data being fudged by the Modi government. My own tweets have been deleted. A couple of days ago, I complained about my Facebook page, which is a verified page, being removed by Facebook, which is being unpublished by Facebook. I still can't access my Facebook. So the government has tried to shoot the messenger as opposed to making sure that the virus that is ravaging the country, it helps people on the ground. It, in fact, has chosen to stifle the voices and the ears and the people like us who have been, reporting the truth. That's a trademark characteristic of any authoritarian regime, and that's exactly what the government is doing, Jeanette.
Rana, but you very correctly also spoke about very brave journalists, especially in rural areas, who are not only risking their health, but also risking the government's wrath by going out and putting out these reports about people who are dying, people who are suffering with no access to healthcare. So journalism doesn't seem to be a very dark spot right now. There seems to be some hope around the world.
Absolutely, and especially in a country like India, it's the local journalists, the unsung journalists who have been reporting, who have been reporting from rural India. For instance, I was writing this report for the Washington Post, where I spoke to at least 3 local journalists from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. And these are people who do not have any healthcare, who do not have any medical insurance. These are independent journalists, often referred to as stringers. And I have great disdain for that term, stringers, because these are people who actually do the ground reporting while most of us get the bylines. So you see them reporting. And when I spoke to one of them and I said, can I quote you for my Washington Post report? And he said, please don't do that, because I am working in a state where the government has given, where the Yogi Adityanath government, the chief minister of the largest state in India, has threatened to file a case against anybody who speaks about oxygen scarcity or deaths due to COVID. So please do not mention me. And it felt like a stab, because these are the people who are doing the real hard work. These are people risking their lives. They are reporting from crematoriums. They are staying at crematoriums all day, counting the number of deaths. One journalist sent me a video where 425 funerals took place in a day. It is a devastating time for the country. And at this point of time, journalism needs to be, India needs its journalism to hold those in power accountable. So yes, while the gatekeepers might, and the mainstream publishers, the mainstream editors might not be allowing the headlines to be scathing, might still be complacent, might not be calling the Prime Minister for his accountability, we have these journalists who are speaking truth to power, who are very unsung, who are unlike us, who don't have, high profile Twitter bios, who don't have the world listening to them, but they're still doing work that needs to be lauded and supported.
Rana, you mentioned this term gatekeepers, and I want to ask you more about that. Because really there's a sense of polarization about the media globally, where the elite seem to control the flow of news. In India, of course, there's this allegation that the international media is out to malign the country. There's a certain section of the media which is only publishing negative news because they want to create a bad perception of the establishment. Where does that leave us as journalists? And especially, where does that leave journalists in villages and rural areas who just want to speak about the lack of basic facilities and probably just speak truth to power and actually help livelihoods in their hometowns?
I think, Jeanette, the gatekeepers, whether they are in India or whether they are in any part of the world, especially I can talk about the Indian in the Indian context. Most of the big publications, the big television networks, the mainstream publications like the Times of India, now these are controlled by big business interests who need to keep Modi in their good books, who need to keep the government in their good books. You have the industrialists, some of the biggest industrialists controlling the Indian news channels, owning the Indian news channels, plus they are worried about their advertisers. So I think there is a great deal of self-censorship by our gatekeepers. Everybody tries to draw parallels between United States and India, saying, we had Trump there and we have Modi here, which is why even through this devastation, the COVID-19 devastation, they're still basically making efforts to stay in power. But I would beg to differ. The difference between the United States and India is the United States has a robust press, a robust media, where a New York Times or a Washington Post will question Trump on its front page, will name names, will put the names of those who are dead on their front pages. We did not see that in India. So while local journalists were testing positive for COVID without any health cover, without any insurance, while they were reporting, the gatekeepers were censoring the news. These news stories were relegated to the inside pages. So I feel terrible for these journalists who have been risking their life, and to what end? I can say that I was jobless till 2013 when I left my job at Tehelka, and in 2014 when Narendra Modi came to power and I used to go for interviews at various publications, the first thing that would be said to me was, you can report on anything except Modi. And I remember telling one editor that I'm not into pimping yet. And since then, I've been jobless till such time that I got hired by Washington Post in 2019 as a global opinions writer. But even with the coverage in international publication, you see the Times Network, which is one of the biggest publications in India, do a 1-hour program reading out headlines by New York Times, Washington Post, Time Magazine, which holds Narendra Modi accountable, and calling it some sort of a sinister conspiracy, where journalists who are reporting for these organizations are allegedly getting funded by the CIA, not looking inwards. So you are questioning what the Wall Street Journal or what Time Magazine is writing about India, what Le Monde is writing about India, but you're not willing to introspect that why does it take international publications to speak the truth about India? And it's not just about COVID-19. You saw when the special act in Kashmir was revoked, you see Indian journalists going to Kashmir, holding an apple in their hands, saying everything is normal, while journalists who were working with the BBC or international publications, bringing us the reports of human rights violation, of youngsters being detained in jails in Kashmir. So I think there are two truths which are operating in the same country. There are two narratives. One narrative that is published in the international publications by Indian journalists, and the other narrative which is published in Indian publications. It's only now when the pandemic has struck everyone without discriminating. Earlier, it used to be the lower class, lower caste, Dalits, Muslims. Till then, it was fine. But now, because it has impacted the upper class India, you see the publications kind of trying to find their voice, because they think, oh, it's impacted upper class India. We must now speak. So I really have a grudge against these gatekeepers, because they suddenly are talking about democracy in peril. But democracy is in peril for quite some time in India, where the minorities were being lynched on the streets, when farmers were being treated as anti-nationals. I really would have wanted to see robust journalism in the country, which wasn't very visible because of our gatekeepers, Jeanette.
Rana, this dichotomy that you mentioned, where it takes the Western media really to talk about some of the issues that allegedly the Indian media doesn't want to talk about. This brings me to the question about the use of English as a gatekeeper. While it's easy to say that a lot of the Indian media doesn't bring out the issues that might be difficult for the government to hear, you yourself are somewhat of a gatekeeper now, given your access to the English-speaking press, given your columns in the Washington Post. How can someone who, firstly, is this fair that the English language is treated as a gatekeeper? It allows a certain set of journalists an unfair voice in the world. And secondly, you yourself having transferred yourself from being a journalist with no voice to somebody as some sort of a gatekeeper, how are you managing this transition?
I'm glad you asked this question of me, Jeanette, because somewhere down the line, we must account for our own privilege. As English-speaking journalists, I remember there was a time when I had recently joined the print publication and I wasn't very conversant in English. I studied in a vernacular medium. I remember a lot of people would mock my English, would mock my grammatical mistakes. I don't think I've come a long way, but I still want to begin with talking about my privilege when I write for the Washington Post, I write for international publications. I'm profiled by the New Yorker. I have the United Nations special rapporteurs writing to the Indian government to protect my safety. Now that's a huge privilege that I must acknowledge that probably the vernacular medium has no access to. I have access to those in power across the world. So I myself am a gatekeeper in that sense. So what does one do when one goes on from being a reporter to a gatekeeper? One is more mindful. One is more mindful of the fact that, you have seen what it takes to make a difference. You have seen what it takes to reach where everybody aspires to. So what do then? You then try to uplift those who do not have a voice. You then try to amplify the voices of those who are not seen and heard by the world. Look at me. If something happens to me tomorrow, I remember in 2018 when a pornographic video emerged with my image morphed on it and was shared all over the world. I had access to the New York Times, writing an editorial for them. I had the United Nations outrage and speak to the Indian government. Not the same thing happens in rural India to a journalist, where patriarchy is a norm in India. There's so much patriarchy. It's characteristic of where we operate in the Indian culture. Now, if there was a journalist operating in the rural heartland, if something like this happened to her, a pornographic video with her image morphed on it, the first thing she would have to do is, make peace. One should not have access to legal help. Second, she would have to kind of leave the profession because she would have to justify this to her family, wherein she's already fought with them to enter the profession. It's a fight for them every day. What we take as granted is a fight for them every day. She would not be allowed to do the journalism that I am doing because she would be slut-shamed. She would be slut-shamed in rural India, where I might have access to a high-profile lawyer, she might not have. So one does have to realize one's privilege while one is talking about gatekeepers, while one is talking about censorship. I am a gatekeeper now, in some sense, which you rightly pointed out. So what do? So when I hear about these voices, I need to amplify them. I need to make sure that their stories are published. I'm trying to do my best. Is that enough? No. I think I can do more. I think my colleagues can do more. So yes, English language journalists have greater access, and that's a prejudice that not just India, but people across the world are dealing with. You see, the journalists who are counted as heroes, who find their way on the cover of Time magazine or who are profiled by the New Yorker, are always English-speaking journalists. How many regional language journalists are given the kind of recognition that they deserve? I saw this journalist reporting from Palestine who was risking her life to speak truth to power. I wish she was given that kind of coverage. I wish, she left her 4 children home to report in the midst of the bombardment and the bombing. I sometimes wish there was everybody operated on equal footing.
Rana, which brings me to my next question about social media. There are some in the media who say that social media, Twitter, Facebook, offers a platform for those who don't have this traditional media platform, for someone who doesn't have the time cover at their disposal, for someone who does not have the Washington Post. You have also seen in your experience that social media can be a double-edged sword. Where are you now on this balance between a force for good and a force for evil when it comes to social media and speaking truth to power, or just speaking truth, really?
Well, social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, which is now being increasingly used to kind of talk about news. Now, it's a devil that we have chosen to use as a platform because we need, especially for independent journalists, there are no gatekeepers on social media, at least from my personal experience. I remember when I left the Helka in 2013, and I did not have access to any publication. I was not hired. I was a freelancer. I was an independent journalist. So posting my stories, posting my views on Twitter made sure that my voice was amplified. So it is a huge boon for independent journalists. There's a young journalist from Uttar Pradesh who's been reporting on the carnage. And I remember I posted his video tagging him on Twitter. And since then, he has become the go-to person for a lot of international media personalities. So yes, Twitter has amplified the voices of those who are unsung heroes. At the same time, it really has its own pitfalls. For instance, the kind of social media hate campaign that journalists, not just like me, but many journalists in India are facing, these concerted attacks where you are trending every day on social media. Just this morning, a right-wing website has posted a ridiculous and devastating hit job on me, and it's trending since this morning. So it does impact. It does numb you for a bit. There is this concerted social media campaign. It numbs you for a bit. Enablers of Narendra Modi, and not just in India, but there have been enablers of authoritarian regimes all over the world. So one must call out their complicity when they are suspending Twitter accounts, when they are suspending Facebook pages, when they're not allowing even journalists like me to kind of boost my stories on my Facebook page, because it violates their policy. And what is the violation of the policy? That these are stories critical of Narendra Modi. So yes, while social media is not completely free and fair, in the absence of gatekeepers who kind of which we face in journalism organizations, it allows us to express ourselves as a democracy where everybody has now become a journalist. Everybody has now become everybody is now blogging, is finding a voice, is talking about, whether it was a cyclone in India yesterday, where you and I were both in Bombay and we realized there was no Wi-Fi, but people were exchanging videos, people were exchanging news stories about deaths and through social media. So it's an extremely important platform, but it does not come with its share of drawbacks. So we must learn to kind of accommodate and use it in a way as journalists to our advantage. Jeanette?
Rana, so you mentioned that there are allegations, of course, that the government censors social media. The government on its part says that we don't censor social media. We are asked by our citizens to censor news that spreads hatred, that incites violence. However, I think both the government and journalists are in agreement that one particular dirty area of social media is where female journalists, women journalists are targeted, not just for their reports, not just for their reporting, but also for areas which the male journalist might not be attacked on. There are rape threats delivered on social media. You're no stranger to them. How have you learned? What has your experience taught you on how to deal with these situations? And given your experience, would you change any of your decisions that you've made so far?
Well, Jeanette, a lot of people who watch me tweeting, and these days Twitter has this new option of not letting people, only people who you follow reply to you. But sometimes, because you're so used to kind of using Twitter in a way that you have been using it over a period of time by not filtering your voice. So a lot of people, when they read my tweets and they read my responses, they say that they go numb with the kind of hatred that they see coming towards me. Like sometimes I just have to put a full stop, like just one dot, and there will be 1,000 replies to it. Most of them misogynistic and what most women face in India. I also have the privilege of being a Muslim in India, a Muslim in Narendra Modi's India, who happens to be critical of Narendra Modi. who sent the Home Minister of the country, Amit Shah, behind bars in 2010 for his role in the extrajudicial murder. So I had the distinction of being called a jihadi Jain, where everything that I tweet is viewed through the prism of religion, is viewed through the prism of misogyny, where the attacks on me and other women in India are mostly gendered. So you don't have men having their images morphed with women, but you will have women in India having their images morphed with Indian politicians, which are in opposition to Narendra Modi. And the kind of hate that you get, you wonder why is this so forceful? I remember when that porn video was disseminated all over the country and everybody was sending that video to me on WhatsApp. I remember I broke down, and I remember for 3 days, I could not take a shower because I was numb. I had anxiety attacks. I was sent to a hospital. I was admitted to a hospital because my blood pressure shot up. And I said, you know what? I called my parents and I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to quit this. I can't deal with this. And I kept telling them, I think I'm humiliated. And now in the feminist worldview, if you allow something like this, a lot of my friends said, how can you say you're humiliated? But when patriarchy is the foundation of everything in India, when I saw the video, I felt like I was made a free-for-all for the rest of the country, which was watching that porn video and thinking of me as this woman who was promiscuous. And despite that person not being me, I felt like I was made a free-for-all. And I felt like if I stepped out of the house, people will have judgments about me. And it felt so damning that I just wanted to give up journalism. I remember when I wrote the New York Times piece, I said, if this is what you wanted to do, you wanted to kill my spirit, you have done that. And then I think something that my father said that really struck me. He's also an old school writer and a journalist. And he said, this should have happened to you long ago, given your work. They are doing this to kind of stifle your voice, to silence you. Can't you see this? And I realized that, yes, I was hitting a raw nerve. They are doing this to me because they have tried every means to silence me. They have tried Twitter attacks. They have tried death threats. My colleague, Gauri Lankesh, I remember I was talking to her in 2017, a night before she was assassinated. She was talking about, she had translated my book, Gujarat Files, in Kannada, regional language, and she was shot dead the next day. And her words continue to haunt me. She said, we are being targeted because of who we are and what we speak. And that made me realize that if I were to be silenced by these social media campaigns, I would have given them the joy of knowing that they had defeated me. And if I were to be defeated, there were so many women journalists who look up to me, who send me messages on Instagram and Twitter. I'd be defeating their spirit too. So it made me realize that all this concerted campaign on social media was an attempt to silence me because somewhere my voice mattered. And the day I realized that my voice mattered, I just became immune to it. I just said, do what you want to. I've seen the worst. How much worse can you really do after this? After my character assassination, after morphing my image, what worse can you do? You can only kill me, right? Which I don't think they will. I have the privilege, like I said, I'm a public figure, so they can't do that to me. But they have done the worst, and I am ready now to face them head on.
Rana, you of course were speaking about this incident where a morphed video of yours was circulating in an attempt to defame you after you wrote something critical about the authorities. But as you said, you've turned that around. You've created a brand for yourself. That outspokenness has actually worked for you. What's your advice to young journalists? How do they create a brand for themselves? And also, how do they create an authentic voice for themselves that's heard around the world?
Well, Jeanette, honestly, I was quite a shy person to begin with. I remember I went to a girls' school, a girls' college, a girls' degree, a girls' postgrad because I was scared. I was always the backbencher. I failed class 12. I was seen as the person who could do nothing in life. And I remember at the age of 19, I went to Gujarat to basically work as a relief worker during the Gujarat riots. And somehow, the kind of injustice I saw there when 1,000 Muslims were massacred in the span of a week, I felt a strange helplessness, and the only thing that I could do was to be outspoken about it. Because I realized that the only thing that works in the world, in the face of everyday criticism, is to maintain your truth, is to maintain a truth, however unpopular that is. Now, if that helps to create a brand in a country where people are as much outspoken but are self-censoring their voice, it was never a choice. It was never something that I planned to be a brand in myself. No, I did not want to create a brand. I just wanted to do what my journalism college told me to do. They said, when you go to interview a minister or anybody, you're not supposed to drink anything more than a glass of water because then you're obliged. So I'm trying to follow the old school of journalism where I was told that one needs to speak truth to power. So when I go to journalism colleges and they said, we would like to do what you want to do, what you do, and we would like to be like you. And I keep telling them, as if glamour, if getting on television, if seeing yourself on television is the reason behind you wanting to join television or journalism, then don't do it. Don't do it for the wrong reasons. Do it because you have that fire in your belly that you want to take the system head on. And a lot of people call me an activist for that reason. I say I'm not an activist. Just because I speak my truth with a passion does not make me an activist. It only makes me an active journalist. I've often been accused of being very passionate when I speak, and I'm often being accused of taking things too personally. Now, I don't know how does a journalist not take things personally when he or she sees injustice right in the face. I don't know how do you remain objective, especially at a time like this in India, when you see a carnage unfolding in the form of COVID-19, when hospitals are running out of oxygen and people dying. So if a young journalist goes and cries, seeing this bloodbath, how does that person remain objective? So my advice to young journalists is it's not about creating a brand, it's reporting what you see with all the sincerity. A lot of them tell me that, you can afford to speak that truth because you don't have to pay loans like us. You don't have children. You don't have to take care of anyone. And we have to pay loans and we have to pay bills. And my only response to them is, if you really had to pay your loans and bills, why join journalism? You should have done PR or anything else. I know it's a privileged position to say that. And I'm quite privileged to say that because I'm sitting in Bombay with my parents paying for my bills, with I managing a good salary to kind of look to have a lifestyle. But I've come a long way from holding tripods for journalists. I worked hard and destiny, of course, really helped. To all the journalists who are listening this, I just want you to know that nothing is impossible. For a journalist like me who could not even speak English, I wanted to defeat my detractors. I wanted to tell them that, you think that a woman cannot report on politics. In my first job, my bureau chief said, women should report on lifestyle and entertainment. They should not report on politics because it's a very male domain. It's something men do. So today when I do that, a part of me feels great. So don't let anybody stifle your voice. Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot do this. And if they tell you that you cannot do this, prove it to them that you can do this.
Rana, final question to you. What next are you out to prove? What's your next big project?
Well, Jeanette, while I'm the global opinions writer with the Washington Post, while I write publications, I still think I'm giving opinions. While a lot of my opinions are based on my reportage. I go to Kashmir, I report on what's happening. I go to other places, I'm reporting on the carnage. I'm doing relief work, but I'm joining a publication called Substack from July onwards, wherein I will be back to my reporting jobs. I'll be back to doing investigations, which I so love. And I'll be back to in a way, trying to reach out to journalists and make sure that in some way they can work with me. So from being an opinion journalist, I'm back to being a full-time journalist because that's where I derive my strength from my reporting. Anybody I think can write an opinion. These days, opinions are everywhere. Everybody can write an opinion. But I think my strength lies in my reportage. I am where I am today. And I want journalists to hear this, that we might be writing opinions for international publications, but we are doing this because we have the experience and we have seen it all from close quarters. So I really want to use my expertise in reporting. So I'm going to be back to reporting. I'm going to be back to speaking truth to power. I'm going to be reporting from areas which have gone underreported, especially during COVID-19. We are witnessing the second wave now, and we are being told that we should be ready for the third wave. It's a devastating time for India. And I think India needs journalists more than opinion writers at this point of time. So that's my next, that's really, really my the next in my list of things to do, Jeanette. And I hope people continue reading me, continue hearing me, and continue hearing voices that are being stifled. Continue listening and amplifying the voices of women journalists, specifically amplifying the voices of journalists from minority communities. In the Indian context, I would say amplifying the voices of Dalit journalists. We need them. We need to hear their lived experience. Oftentimes, lived experience is considered a drawback. I think lived experience is our strength. The reason I am being able to say what I am unfiltered is because I have lived that experience as a Muslim in India. So I hope to continue to do that, Jeanette.
I wish you all the very best in your new endeavor, Rana. And thank you very much once again for joining us.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Jeanette and Rana. Well, that concludes the first part of our program, but we are honored to present the SOPA Lifetime Achievement Award now that recognizes an individual who made an outstanding lifetime contribution to journalism here in Asia. And the Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Diane Ying of Commonwealth Magazine in Taiwan. Congratulations, Diane. And let's hear some remarks from our award winner.
It is a great honor to receive this award. Thank you, SOPA. I would like to take this opportunity first to thank my colleagues. Without their effort, dedication, and heartful participation and trust, the Commonwealth Magazine Group, 天下杂志群, couldn't reach so far. This award should be shared with them. Some of them started the journey together with me exactly 40 years ago. Second, I would also show my gratitude to all those journalists and publishers in the world, those who still believe in good journalism, who steadfastly deliver quality stories, true and authentic reporting, who struggle to uphold professional standards, to push social justice to a higher altitude, despite the troublesome time that we, the media industry, are all facing. Yes, the world, including the media world, is increasingly fast-changing, complex, uncertain, and ambiguous. Everything seems to have been disrupted. At this challenging time, plus the threat of the COVID pandemic and climate change, it is even more important that we provide the right way to interpret the changing world, to project hope and not despair, and to pursue the never-ending path to a better society, to a better world. Hope we can do it all together. Thank you again.
Congratulations again to Diane Ying, founder of Commonwealth Magazine, for receiving the SOPA Awards 2021 Lifetime Achievement Award. Well, that's the end of the first part of our programme. There are many more winners to be announced in the second half, including SOPA's Award for Public Service Journalism and who got the biggest scoops in 2020. Stay tuned. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Let's get started with the second half of the awards. Up next is Excellence in Information Graphics. The award honors entries that demonstrate high standards in presenting information in graphics form. The three finalists of Chinese language media are Reader, COVID-19 Disinformation War, 5,000 Fact-Checking Reports Analysis. Stand News, Statistics on Cases in Anti-Extradition Law Amendment Bill Movement. Stand News, Unrevealed Truth using life-size 3D image and VR technology to present the death of Chao Zilok in court. And the honourable mention goes to Stand News for Statistics on Cases in Anti-Extradition Law Amendment Bill Movement. Congratulations, Stand News. Now the award for excellence goes to Reader for COVID-19 Disinformation War, 5,000 Facts Checking Reports Analysis. Congratulations, Reader. Now the judges said this was nice presentation to analyse a large dataset of misinformation about COVID-19 with the support of National Zhengqi University's academic input. In this category, global media and regional media entries have been combined. Now in this category, global media and regional media entries have been combined. The three finalists for global and regional media are Reuters, sizing up Australia's bushfires. Reuters once again, visualizing the coronavirus pandemic. And South China Morning Post, coronavirus, the disease COVID-19 explained. Honourable mention goes to South China Morning Post for coronavirus, the disease COVID-19 explained. Congratulations to them. But the award for excellence goes to Reuters, visualizing the coronavirus pandemic. Once again, congratulations, Reuters. The judges said this was clean data visualization that tell different aspects of the pandemic story, and strong presentations that drill home specific scientific points of interest that have both local and universal interests. The next category is excellence in reporting breaking news. This award honors the work that demonstrates high standards of reporting a breaking news event under deadline pressure. The three finalists of Chinese language media are Business Today, the reveal of the Labour funds fraud. Business Weekly, Frozen China. The Reporter, COVID-19, Virus Humanity New World. The honourable mention goes to The Reporter for COVID-19, Virus Humanity New World. Congratulations to The Reporter. And the award for excellence goes to Business Weekly for Frozen China. Congratulations, Business Weekly. The judges said this story showed a tremendous reporting effort under an uncertain and fast developing situation. It picked a sharp angle and really drilled down deep into it from various perspectives, showing the huge impact the virus and the shutdown of China had in the supply and how it affected Taiwanese business. Now in this category, global and media regional entries have been combined. The three finalists for global and regional media are Financial Times, inside the heart of the pandemic. China's struggle to control the virus and the narrative. The New York Times, inside Wuhan. The Wall Street Journal, rushing into Wuhan. Honourable mention goes to the New York Times for inside Wuhan. Congratulations, New York Times. The award of excellence goes to the Wall Street Journal for rushing into Wuhan. Congratulations to the Wall Street Journal. Now, the judges said the early reports that COVID cases in Wuhan were being undercounted and misdiagnosed and that hospitals were overwhelmed was a comprehensive work of on-the-ground reporting that countered the official narrative coming out of the city. Throughout, the entry captures a sense of confusion and foreboding in China. Given what has transpired globally, that feeling of rising peril was well warranted. The Excellence in Opinion Writing Award honours the opinion piece of editorial that best serves to advance discussions and debate on a topic of significance. The three finalists for Chinese language media are The Paper, Why People Don't Like Civilization Code, Yaqiu Shoukan, The Origin of Taiwan's Electoral Dictatorship, The Phenomenon of DPP New Authoritarianism, Yaqiu Shoukan, The Struggle of Ethnic Integration in Inner Mongolia, The Storm Made by Melting Pot Model. An honourable mention goes to Yaqiu Shoukan, The Origin of Taiwan Electoral Dictatorship, The Phenomenon of DPP New Authoritarianism. Congratulations, Yaqiu Shoukan. And the award for excellence goes to The Paper for Why People Don't Like Civilization Code. Congratulations to The Paper. The judges said, in a world where intrusive apps are almost a norm, The Paper makes a stand to say no and succeeded in halting one. Congratulations. The finalists of regional English language media are Hong Kong Free Press, Hong Kong's protest movement in perspective. Philippine Daily Inquirer, Get Real. Sixth Tone, legal scholar He Haibo on the overdue end of China's custody and education program. Honourable mention goes to Hong Kong Free Press for Hong Kong's protest movement in perspective. Congratulations to Hong Kong Free Press. And the award for excellence goes to Sixth Tone for legal scholar He Haibo on the overdue end of China's custody and education program. Congratulations, Sixth Tone. The judges said the best opinion pieces educate as well as illuminate He Haibo's encyclopedic yet eminently readable pieces peel back the veil that the political and cultural forces in China have pulled over prostitution and how the harsh treatment of the accused ruins lives without stopping abuses in the sex trade. Now, the three finalists of global English language media are Bloomberg, Why I'm Losing Hope in India, The Economist, for The Economist Chaguan column, The Wall Street Journal for the hollowing out of Hong Kong. An honourable mention goes to The Economist for The Economist Chaguan column. Congratulations to them. And the award for excellence goes to Bloomberg for Why I'm Losing Hope in India. Now, the judges called it a masterclass in writing with authority about a subject close to the writer's heart, perfectly balancing and conveying the facts while telling a very personal story, eloquent and unflinching. Now, our next category, Excellence in Reporting on the Environment, honours work that demonstrates high standards of reporting on an environmental topic of significance. The three finalists of Chinese language media are Beijing Data Visualization Technology, The Chain, Commonwealth Magazine, Solar Power Fueling, Dreams of Riches, Taiwan Public Television Service, Garbage Island, Taiwan's Endless Waste Dilemma. Honourable mention goes to Commonwealth Magazine for Solar Power Fueling, Dreams of Riches. Congratulations, Commonwealth Magazine. And the award for excellence goes to Taiwan Public Television Service for Garbage Island, Taiwan's Endless Waste Dilemma. Congratulations to Taiwan Public Television Service. And the judges said it was a very strong impact with attractive presentation, a story with rich content. Now, the three finalists for regional English language media are Eco Business, Vietnamese rubber giant raises indigenous lands as Cambodian government grapples with legacy land issues. Sixth Tone, the fierce debate over Shanghai's new forest. The World of Chinese, China's hidden rural waste crisis. The honourable mention goes to Sixth Tone for the fierce debate over Shanghai's new forest. Congratulations, Sixth Tone. And the award for excellence goes to The World of Chinese, China's hidden rural waste crisis. Congratulations to The World of Chinese. What the judges said, it was a strong package with a compelling narrative supported by impactful visuals and carefully curated data that fleshes out the portraits of individuals while also giving the story a global perspective. Now, the three finalists for global English language media are The Economist, The Outlaw Sea, The Washington Post, how China is choking the Mekong. Vice World News, land defenders are killed in the Philippines for protesting Canadian mining. An honourable mention goes to The Economist for The Outlaw Sea. Congratulations to The Economist. And the award for excellence goes to The Washington Post for how China is choking the Mekong. Congratulations to The Washington Post. The judges said it was meticulously put together, combining old-school boots on the ground investigative journalism with video and photographs for a truly outstanding package. Now, no matter what your words say, people are moved by what they see. We all know the power and emotional pull of a good photograph. The Excellence in Photography Award honors the work that demonstrates high standards of photojournalism. The three finalists of Chinese language media are HK01, Ted Hui's Year of 2020, Initium Media, Protests and Trials in Hong Kong, Initium Media, Wuhan Spring. The honourable mention goes to Initium Media and Wuhan Spring. Congratulations to them. And the award for excellence goes to Initium Media as well, Protests and Trials in Hong Kong. Congratulations to Initium Media. The judges said it was a series of photos full of tension and excellent perspective of view. Now, the three finalists for regional English language media are Philippine Daily Inquirer, A River of Rage Runs Through It. Sixth Tone, Floating Life, China's Flood Victims Pick Up the Pieces. The World of Chinese, Of Ice and Men, the 1,000-year ice fishing tradition on Chagan Lake. And the honourable mention goes to the publication The World of Chinese, Of Ice and Men, the 1,000-year ice fishing tradition on Chagan Lake. Congratulations to the World of Chinese. And the award for excellence goes to Sixth Tone for Floating Life, China's Flood Victims Pick Up the Pieces. Congratulations, Sixth Tone. The judges said it was an excellent series of pictures that depicts the devastation of the flood, the humdrum of life in its aftermath. Magnificent photos to show an awful situation. Now, the three finalists of global English language media are Agence France Presse, Wuhan, Coronavirus Round Zero. Getty Images, the Tal volcano eruption. The New York Times, Adam Dean and Thailand protests. Honourable mention goes to the New York Times, Adam Dean and Thailand protests. Congratulations to them. And the award for excellence goes to Agence France Presse for Wuhan Coronavirus Ground Zero. Congratulations, Agence France Presse. The judges said this is what photography does that mere words cannot. The majority of us can only imagine what COVID looks like in Wuhan. Ritamal's photographs show us exactly what it does. Now we are in the home stretch, and next we are going to present the Scoop Award. This award honors the exclusive story that has a significant impact and is widely followed by competing news media. The three finalists of Chinese language media are Apple Daily. GFS conducted surveillance on speedboat of 12 fleeing Hong Kongers under police order. Business Today, the reveal of the Labour funds fraud. FactWire, police crowd flees before CID arrives. July 21st footage from FactWire shows riot police allowed white shirts to drive away. An honourable mention goes to the publication FactWire for police crowd flees before CID arrives. July 21 footage from FactWire shows riot police allowed white shirts to drive away. Congratulations to FactWire. And the award for excellence goes to Apple Daily for GFS conducted surveillance on speedboat of 12 fleeing Hong Kongers. Congratulations, Apple Daily. The judges said the piece used various reporting methods, reconstructing the events and revealed evidence that confronts the police's statements. A great example of investigative reporting and an impactful scoop. Now, in this category, global media and regional media entries have been combined. The three finalists of global and regional English language media are Financial Times, Wirecard, Germany's fintech giant that turned out to be a fraud. The Associated Press, China confronts COVID-19. The Wall Street Journal, identifying the new virus. Honourable mention goes to the Financial Times for Wirecard, Germany's fintech giant that turned out to be a fraud. Congratulations, Financial Times. And the award for excellence goes to the Associated Press for China confronts COVID-19. Congratulations, Associated Press. The judges said no story was more important in 2020 than the coronavirus outbreak, and no outlet did a better job than the Associated Press in uncovering the early missteps that led to a global pandemic that killed millions. The next award, Excellence in Investigative Reporting, honouring the publication that, through the use of its journalistic resources, which as well as reporting may include editorials, photographs and graphics, and serves to advance the public interest on a topic of significance. The three finalists of Chinese language media are Commonwealth Magazine, Solar Power Fueling Dreams of Riches. The Reporter, Unregulated, Cheap and 24/7 available, how hundreds of tons of industrial use laughing gas silently poisons the young. The Reporter, Drug Lords, Death Row Prisoners, Drug Addicts, Taiwan's long march in Asia's illegal drug trade. And the honourable mention goes to Commonwealth Magazine for Solar Power Fueling Dreams of Riches. Congratulations, Commonwealth Magazine. And the award for excellence goes to The Reporter for Drug Lords, Drug Row Prisoners, Drug Addicts, Taiwan's long march in Asia's illegal drug trade. Congratulations to The Reporter. The judges said the story is aimed at revealing details about the latest change in drug smuggling in Asia and why Taiwan has played a significant role. And the three finalists of regional English language media are Frontier Myanmar, Shining Light on Shui Koko. Sixth Tone, China's anti-poverty campaign, The View from the Villages. Sixth Tone once again for Inside China's Black Market for Foster Children. Honourable mention goes to Frontier Myanmar for Shining Light on Shui Koko. Congratulations, Frontier Myanmar. And the award for excellence goes to Sixth Tone for Inside China's Black Market for Foster Children. Congratulations, Sixth Tone. The judges said Zhang Wangjing and Dominic Morgan demonstrate initiative and nerve in this investigative look into a shocking aspect of modern China. Deeply researched and engaging, their piece powerfully highlights the stakes involved in authorities turning a blind eye to the exploitation of vulnerable children. The three finalists for global English language media are International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, Malaysia Kini, the Asahi Shimbun, BuzzFeed News, and more than 100 other media partners around the world. The Finson Files, the Associated Press, Fruits of Labour, the Wall Street Journal, COVID's Ground Zero. An honourable mention goes to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, Malaysia Kini, the Asahi Shimbun, BuzzFeed News, and more than 100 other media partners around the world for the Finson Files. Congratulations to all. And the award for excellence goes to the Associated Press for Fruits of Labour. Congratulations to the Associated Press. The judges said, in its stunning 2-year investigation, the Associated Press exposed ongoing massive labour exploitation in the palm oil industry in Indonesia and Malaysia, and that's supported by international banks and businesses. Palm oil from one of the largest producers was blocked by US officials shortly after the AP stories appeared. It's time for our final award of the evening, and it is the SOPA Award for Public Service Journalism. This award recognises outstanding journalistic work in print, photography, video, or online media that represents an exemplary contribution in public services in the Asia-Pacific region. A reminder, there's no honourable mention, only the award for excellence is given out. And the three finalists are Commonwealth Magazine, tracking down Taiwan's industrial polluters, Malaysia Kini, the Malaysia Kini COVID-19 tracker and list of locations, Radio Television Hong Kong for Hong Kong's Connection, July 21, Who Owns the Truth? And this year's award for excellence goes to Radio Television Hong Kong for Hong Kong Connection, July 21, Who Owns the Truth? The judges said this was an excellent use of public information and private CCTV records to reconstruct the events of the 21st of July UN Long attacks in Hong Kong. It was meticulous investigative forensic work that uncovered essential information to serve the public's right to know. Well, congratulations again to all our winners. And all the winners' information, including judges' comments, will be posted on the website of sopaawards.com, or you can take a quick scan of this QR code. Well, a big thanks to all our volunteer judges, our platinum sponsor, Google News Initiative, our public relations partner, Citygate Dew Rogerson, and our supporting partners, BBC News and Click to View. Special thanks go to our long-time awards administrator, the University of Hong Kong's HKU Journalism Department. I'm Sharanjit Leyl, and it has been a delight to be hosting you this evening, and we look forward to hopefully being able to host you all in person at next year's awards presentation. Good evening, good night, and congratulations once again to all our winners.